Here's something. There's not just one type of introvert. What? All right, I'm not talking about Myers-Briggs here. I'm talking some scientific study has gone into this. It comes from psychologist Jonathan Cheek and his colleagues trying to explain this issue where lots of times when psychologists are talking about introversion, they're not talking about the same thing. Not exactly something you want happening in science. So there are these 4 different sets of traits, each being described as introversion, but they're not really describing the same type of person. So in this video, I'm going to explain the 4 types of introverts and tell you where you can take a test to see which one you are. The first type of introvert is the social introvert, or you might call it the avoids socializing introvert. This type of introvert is basically the typical introvert, and I'm having the chilling realization that I'm probably going to say introvert 400 times in this video. The social introvert likes being alone. If they are around people, they prefer it just to be with one or a few people and not a big crowd. They're easily drained by being around people. However, the social introvert's desire to be alone is not caused by shyness or anxiety, and actually a social introvert may enjoy the occasional social interaction, even if it is draining, even if they try to avoid the social interactions most of the time. Next up is the thinking type of introvert. What makes the thinking introvert introverted is not so much that they don't like social interactions like the social introvert, but that they are just so in their own minds that they don't have time to deal with the outside world. For the thinking introvert, their inner world is so compelling that they end up spending most of their time there, in their imagination. What's interesting is that part of what they think about much of the time is actually themselves, so they tend to know themselves very well and be self-aware. They may not prefer social interaction, but it's not because it's draining to them. Rather, it's because it takes them out of their inner world. Hey, and while we're here, if you're enjoying this video, hit the thumbs up button, which will indicate to YouTube that you enjoyed this. Next is the anxious introvert. Oh boy. The anxious introverts want to keep away from social situations, not so much because they're draining, but because they cause a great amount of, well, anxiety. And the anxiety doesn't ever really go away. Isn't that nice? For a social introvert, as a contrast to this, they will feel drained after a social interaction, and they may feel a little bit anxious beforehand, but they can enjoy themselves while socializing. The anxious introvert, not so much. The anxious introverts are also the overthinkers. They're always going over what they said and did in the past and what other people said to them and overanalyzing it. They tend to be painfully self-conscious as well, which is why they can't stop feeling anxious in a social situation and why they keep evaluating themselves like for years afterwards. That thing I did in 2nd grade, why did I do that? Why can't I move on? Lastly is the restrained introvert. The restrained introvert just likes to take things a bit slower. They are steady and deliberate. They like to plan things out, and they seem to get burned out quite easily. This is real interesting to me because this type of introvert is less defined by their relation to socializing, but more by their energy level and quickness to action. They need to really think things through and pluck up their energy before they do things. They don't tend to be impulsive. They don't even tend to be the kind of people who could just jump out of bed and get going in the morning. Now, in the description is a link to a test developed by psychologists to see which type of introvert you are. Let me know what your type is in the comments below. I'm not entirely sure which one I am. I might be the restrained type, though I relate a little bit to all of them. Until next time, stay cool and attractive.